Sorry. Sorry, ayan, nakamute pala kasi ako. Hello, okay na, may sound na. Okay, good evening, Kristian. Okay. Hello, good evening, guys. Again, my name is Adrian Tampolino and I'm zooming in from Singapore and we are broadcasting live from Manila, Philippines. And welcome to the STC online sessions. I'll be taking over your screen for tonight and this is brought to you by Boyset, the number one paint, and of course, Crown Pipes, the number one pipes. And yeah, as I said, nung nakamute pa ako, we'll be crunching in the numbers because we'll be talking about data analytics in design and construction. Yeah, in design and construction, of course, we have a special guest for tonight. So, uh, I marami siguro nagtataka sa inyo bakit why are we going to tackle data analytics, and is it kind of new, or is it kind of problema sa mic ko, so hindi na ako mag-mic. So, if data analytics is new, or if the data analytics is somewhat alien to our profession, actually it's not, because to give you a starter, data science and analytics, we've been doing this every day. In every click of your cell phone, in every click on your laptop, you're doing data. You're giving the people behind to process the data that you have been producing. And then that's why we have sort of a process in which we will going to analyze your data. Now, in a matter, I mean, with regards to our profession as architects, of course, we all know that it is a science. Of course, it's also an art. But syempre, hindi tayo magdidig in doon, and it is a science, and therefore, it is one of the ripest industry, I think, and they say, na dapat pasukin ng data science at data analytics. So to further explain this to us, we have our special guest all the way from Cebu. Okay, I'll introduce him to you. Architect Kristian Zhen Cruz is an architect, of course, a real estate broker, and an environmental planner. He is okay. He is the chief software architect of Zhen Analytics from 2016 and to present. Of course, he is currently doing his construction and design and construction practice in Cebu, and of course, I think in Cagayan de Oro. And currently, he graduated with a degree in Bachelor in Architecture from the University of San Carlos in Cebu, and currently pursuing his Master's in Business Administration in the Ateneo de Manila University. Ladies and gentlemen, taking over our screen, zooming in from Cebu, is architect Kristian Zhen Cruz. Kristian? Hello, Zhen?
So good evening, everybody.
Hello, good evening. Ano, kamusta na dyan?
Better na, I think, ang cases, but hopefully, by Christmas, medyo, almost regular na yung situation dito sa Cebu. So, sana everywhere else.
Yes. So, ayun nga, as I was saying, this is data analytics, especially in architecture and construction, and especially in the Philippines, is quite new. Although I have heard and I have seen there are people who are doing it, especially in here in Singapore, may specialist dito talaga. And meron din sa United States, may isang firm, HLW ata, ang nagpa-pioneer sa practice na yan. Now, with regards to you, what we have talked is that dahil nga ang practice dito sa Pilipinas is medyo in a scale of small and medium enterprise, right? Hello, Zen?
Yes.
Hello? Yes. Ayun nga. And then yes. Ayun. And then tell us more about why were you fascinated in pursuing this kind of practice?
Actually, di ba, as you mentioned, analytics has been parang there quite some time. It's just not in our industry, but generally in the whole business industry, they have been using analytics, especially for companies who can afford, let's just say Facebook, uh, Instagram. These big corporations related to tech can easily deal with analytics. Bakit nga ba? What's the difference between now and 10 years or 20 years before? It's about processing, the power to process data. Before, when we
Mhm.
used computers to launch yung mga space missions, di ba, ang daming tao, kailangan mo ng isang room or tatlong room ng people who need to compute. Computers nga ang tawag sa mga tao nagko-compute, di ba? Ngayon, we have just
Yeah.
small boxes or iPhone-sized cell phones who can process the data. Kaya with the advent of faster computing technology, that's why analytics was born.
Okay. So, in a layman term, for an introductory to our audiences and viewers, in a layman term, how will you introduce data analytics to them? Kasi tayo, for
Ah,
sure, magkakaintindihan tayo dahil behind camera, nag-uusap tayo about this. And yung
yeah.
isang host, yung IPP namin, medyo fascinated din siya sa ganitong medium of, well, technically it's for decision making, di ba? So tell us more
Yeah.
about, as an introductory, para makarelate kahit papaano ang
Okay.
mga audience natin.
Okay. Actually, I included it in my slide, but just to give a
Mhm.
very brief summary, analytics is just the process of gathering, analyzing, and making conclusions out of data to make business decisions. So, the mere fact of sine-check mo yung payroll ng company, sine-check mo yung number of hours your staff is working, that's already parang part of analytics. You get the data and you analyze how you are performing and you make the decisions based on that.
Ayun.
So, that that's basically parang analytics on a very rudimentary process. Parang okay, we'll try to do analytics ourselves. Parang everybody doing that. Ganon.
Okay. Okay, so I guess that's it. That's the introductory statement for you guys. So, Zen, the screen is all yours. You can now present your slides.
Okay. So, thank you. And just to give a little background kung bakit parang an architect goes into analytics, I was born into a family of engineers, and then parang ever since my family they were all engineers, electrical, mechanical, plumbing, so medyo parang focus on math, di ba? And then when I graduated, we introduced yung research division, which is Zen Analytics, to cater to the need na kailangan ng better building performance, ganon. In this highly competitive time, we research on various topics like structural optimization, computational design, photogrammetry, 3D prototyping, cloud software, to apply the enhancements and give a more informed design and construction decision. So hindi lang siya parang dun sa software na analytics. Parang we're trying to have a practice that's really sensitive to whatever data it's giving us. Dati kasi yung architects parang, okay, I have this direction ng sun, pero if you can compute the angle of the sun, the exact heat gain, it would be better for you as an architect to have a more informed decision. So it's all basically on that thing. And the premise is that 10, 20 years ago, we did not have that computing power to do this. Pero ngayon, since we have a more advanced technology, it's easier for us to do this. So, okay, going to the next slide. So ito yung sample of one of our projects of photogrammetry. When you use drones to create not just pictures but also 3D images, and you analyze the topography of the site based on, let's just say, plant health, dimensions of the site. It's a very cost and effective manner. So parang it's harnessing the power of drones. At the same time, parang halos zero battery lang yung cost mo, pero you can make these analysis in your project. So pre-design services, and also yung during design and post design, you make prototyping for your design. So after you scan the entire terrain, you can make your own 3D prints of the model of your terrain with your architecture or your with your plan in mind. So yun ang mga advantages ng using technology and focusing on the analytics part. But at the heart of our discussion is really parang data analytics. So what is yun nga, data analytics? As I mentioned, some people call it big data, machine learning, analytics. Basta, pero in a nutshell, yun nga, it's about getting the data, it's about analyzing it and making conclusions to make important business decision. Ang sabi nga ng prof ko, yung si Mr. Jack Shu, he's a Chinese na national. He mentioned if your analytics, if your very fancy equipment or software does not give you any business intelligence, then walang purpose yung pa-high-tech. Yes. So it should at the kahit rudiment need to make better business decisions, whether in architecture, construction, or in other fields. Yun ang purpose ng analytics. So analytics, it's like Excel, di ba? You gather data, kailangan pa natin mag-move ng database or yung SQL or mga Hadoop, things that complicate it. Bakit hindi na lang tayo the disadvantage is information is broken into many files. So the more files, the more clutter. Pero with the database, everything is stored in one file. Makikita na ng kahit sino. With database, merong encoders, administrators. So your files are protected. Yun nga, less security for spreadsheet, more security for database. Tapos yung reporting, this one is a very crucial term. Ang reporting ng analysis, you get, let's just say, the attendance of your designers every week, every day. When you report that, you spend time to analyze that data. With analytics, ready na siya every time you need it. Weekly report, monthly report, daily report, hourly report, it's there because everything is one place. And then one thing, limited yung data space. Actually, it might not matter for us when we make payroll for architects, for construction, pero in companies like my professor was a consultant for Alibaba. He said parang at least 50 million people at one point in 1 second na nagki-click ng link. So pag hindi kaya ng database mo or ng spreadsheet mo to handle 50 million data entries, parang kailangan niyang bigger way of parang more organized way of doing things. So eto rin siya, as you grow along, kasi wala naman nag-i-envision na yung construction firm ko gusto ko maliit lang. You really ideally make it in a way na scalable siya. In 5 years, kukuha na ako ng bigger projects. It becomes more complicated. So database is a very scalable way of doing things. So moving on, since there are many ways to skin a cat, ang focus namin in our practice is attendance, payroll, and expense track. Of course, you will know later on if you're focused in analytics that there is enterprise resource planning, there are consumer resource management, merong focus on product, may focus on client, focus on managers, and several other topics. But the point is, what we want to measure in our business as an architecture firm or a construction firm or both is the attendance of people, the payroll, manpower, and then expense. Kasi yun yung what composes a project, di ba? You have list of expense and manpower. And if you get that right, it's either you profit in your project or you don't. So ito yung mga features natin with the software that we made. Attendance, payroll, expenses, materials comparison, price list, dashboard analytics. So at the very basic, kailangan mo maglista ng mga tao kung sino yun, whether workers, laborers, architects, apprentices. Normally, you put it in a paper, you file it in a folder, tapos it's file forgotten. So with analytics, lahat ng employee mo nandyan sa lista. So you would know yung apprentice mo, magto 2 years na ba? Aalis na ba siya? Magte-take na ba ng board? Do you need to hire apprentice, di ba? That's parang akala mo 1 month pa, pero 2 years na pala yung apprentice ko. So you need to change your staff from time to time. Di naman pwede na. Pag umalis yung isang staff, papalit agad na isang staff. You have to have, let's say, 2-3 months transition from these people. So yung mga middle managers mo, junior architects, how long have they been in your company? So it's also a way to see yung performance nila. Have they been performing good or not? So kasama yan as because your data is in your database for managers, for all the employees, every day you know the accumulated salary, everything is being computed without you thinking about it. So ayan, simple lang naman ang form. It's parang Facebook lang na nag-sign ka, your name, your rate, everything else, yung even in case of emergency, so sino yung contact numbers, ganun. So everything is there online. Kahit wala yung secretary or something, alam mo lahat ng birthdays. We actually have a login na whenever you log into our website, makikita mo sino mag-birthday for the week. So alam mo na to greet that person. So these are the little add-ons that we did. So next is DTR. Diba? Normally, may punch card. In my previous company, we still had the punch card system. Tapos ini-encode sa HR and a lot of people handling the data. With DTR, readily logging in, diretso na. After you log in, alam mo na ilang hours, and then your hours is tied up to a specific project. Kasi nga, an architect can get a lot of projects, but he doesn't know if he earns or not. Kasi hindi niya ma-associate yung exact man hours for his designers, apprentices, doon sa correct na project. So this, if you log in 4 hours for one project, diretso yan sa specific na residence A. 2 hours for this project, rendering, okay, doon sa project B. So at the end of the day, you have lesser of the indirect expenses. Ang direct expenses mo, computed mo for every project without anyone doing any extra effort. Kasi the computer does all the filing. At the end of the day, alam mo na lang na, okay, meron na akong 200 pesos spent on this project or on that project. So this is DTR analytics. Pag lagay mo, you look for your name, you log in the time kung kailan ka pumasok, and then log in, log out. Parang punch card lang din, pero electronic. Yan, ito ang traditional payroll. Every week, contractors have a hard time doing this kasi although they put it in Excel, feeling nila, okay, it's easier na kasi it's computerized, pero nagkakamali pa rin sa hours, whether it's in the hours, whether it's in the rate, whether it's in the formula of doing it. At pagpunta mo sa site, na-short ka na sa pera mo, nagreklamo yung tao mo. So these are the weekly problems of contractors and especially architects din with their staff. Nauubos yung time in checking these things. So with our way, dahil you already have the hours with your manpower, hours times rate is automatically computed. So you will just have to check the date. Okay, October 24 to 30, 1 week. Lahat sila na nakalog in doon, lalabas na yung hours, yung rate. Even adjustment for SSS, PhilHealth, and whatnot, nandun na lahat. And then, ready to print na rin yung data mo if you want a hard copy to be signed on site. So it's that easy because from the very beginning, correct na yung data processing mo. So yung petty cash, ayan pa yan. So yung staff can get petty cash and then i-reconcile. Parang ang haba ng process. But with analytics, you can just write kung you give, let's say, 1,000 pesos to the foreman or whoever staff. And then every time they spend something, they will deduct that from the amount from the 1,000 or the 5,000. Automatic yung tally. You don't need to keep tracks of it, keep tabs of everyone doing this. Kasi nga one way of parang tricky din yung pag-disburse ng petty cash is that pag-disburse mo ng petty cash, if you give 5,000 to a person, actually it's not expense. But how are you gonna list that in your copy sa Excel, di ba? Parang na-expense na rin siya, but actually hindi pa siya expense. So this is a way of tracking it without incurring expense, but you keep tabs of who is holding the money. So, ayan. And then easy lang. Every time somebody makes a purchase, it's linked to that petty cash and linked to the project. So lahat ng expenses is directed to a specific project. So you can get your sales or expenses for project, for per month, for basically anything you want to. Gusto mo ba per day, per week, every 2 days ba? Lahat yon at a few clicks magagawa mo. So ayan, ang receipts, yan ang mahirap hanapin. Magkano ba yung binili ko na I-beam last week? magkano na ba ang price ng GI sheet? So, since you are, for example, a construction firm, everyday bumibili ka ng materials, you're actually accumulating data, pero pag nagtanong yung isang designer or client, magkano ba yung presyo ng CHB? Magkano ba yung presyo ng pintura? You have no idea, you don't know the exact price. But with this, you can get the exact historical prices of your paint or yung binili mo 3 years ago na material na GI sheet, alam mo yung price kung saan. You can also benchmark, bakit tayo bumibili sa hardware na ito na mas mura pala dito? Because of the prices, you can compare prices. And also, even your staff na walang access dun sa mga quotation, mga data mo, they can see the price for future estimates. But you don't have to give them all your data na, ito yung mga costing natin, ito yung mga kinita ng construction firm. So, the data privacy is still there, which is not available with other features, like if I'm not mistaken, QuickBooks, merong other softwares that do this, but because they're not tailored to architecture and construction companies, they have a very, very general approach on things. So ayan, filtering the receipts, alam mo agad. This next feature is very interesting for architecture, for construction firms. Dahil when you make expenses, it's very easy na maliit lang yung construction firm ko. I can literally write all the expenses with what I purchased in one Excel sheet. But it's very difficult to write all your expenses and to separate all the quantity of what you bought. For example, lahat ng pintura na binili mo, lahat ng cement na binili mo, lahat ng CHB na binili mo in different receipts, right? Because you would want to tally that. When you give a quotation to a client, you put, for example, 10 gallons of paint, 100 hollow blocks, ganun. So, aside from, for example, if you have a project na 1 million pesos, lahat ng materials mo, 500,000. Tapos, yung labor mo, 200,000. So, you earn 300,000, di ba? Pero, if you bought 120 na CHB, tapos ang estimate mo is 100 lang, lugi ka pa rin sa CHB. So, not just in terms of total expenses, pero dapat per item ng expenses, hindi ka malugi. Para you would know if your estimate is good, if your estimate is bad, or if you can improve in the next project that you have. Also, parang a corollary effect of this is that when you design as an architect, if you use analytics, alam mo na later on, bakit parang costly sa pintura yung design ko? Bakit ang daming paring? Bakit ang daming finishing? Bakit mahal yung construction cost ko? You can break that down because you have analytics who will solve each and every quantity. So this is one sample project. And then you can see, andyan na yung estimated tally ng cement. Tapos yung actual tally, okay, so nakasave tayo ng 100 pieces dun sa actual quantity. So every time somebody writes or encodes one expense, the total amount gets added to the project, and every material gets added to this materials comparison. So hindi mo na siya kailangan na i-arrange pa every time. When you go to the site, alam mo, the moment na ma-short ka sa mga hollow blocks mo na madali naman siyang bilangin, most likely may pilferage na, or it's either hindi dumating yung other deliveries. So you would have a second parang audit kung tama ba yung purchases mo for your company or not. So this is the sample sa materials comparison. And then itong price list. Ito nga, as I mentioned earlier, pag tinanong kung magkano yung pintura, magkano ba yung boysen, di natin alam yung price. But because you have historic data, you will know how prices have increased over the years or over the months. One thing you can also do with this is that at the end of the year, you can check your suppliers, yung mga electrical supplier mo, ganun, makikita mo na, okay, ang laki pala ng purchases ko sa'yo for this year. So, pwede ba mayroon akong discount next year? Ganon. Or for example, if you think na malaki yung purchases mo in terms of, let's just say, boysen, bumibili ka pala ng 1,000 gallons a year. Maybe for the next year, you can start your own parang warehousing para hindi ka na bibili distribution, direct ka na. So you can save kasi you can project already your requirement for the previous year and then the following year. Ayan, price list. Ayan, makikita mo yung different suppliers. And you just search it through the keywords. So, general analysis dashboard. So basically, lahat ng data from expenses, lahat ng manpower, ito yung per project analysis. So labor versus expenses. You need to keep that at less than 30-40% ba, depending on how much you have quoted the client. But you will want to know the proportion every single day. Pero it's hard to analyze it with the running cost, di ba? So if you have the dashboard, every single day, you can just check it. Alam mo magkano yung proportion. If it reaches more than 50%, alam mo na parang there's something wrong with your manpower. Parang hindi siya ganong namamanage. So this is one very parang passive way of looking at it, and then trying to mitigate your operations without having to spend so much effort and time in analyzing the data. Parang readily available lang siya. At the bottom part, BPC, we also have the employees rented hours. So, malalaman mo kung sino yung palaging absent for the past week, for the past month, for the past year. Tapos, ito yung mga short, yan ang mga absent palagi. Tapos, itong mahaba, ito yung palaging present. Kasi accumulated yan over the course of the project. So, it's very easy to spot the data. And ito one thing, yung admin expenses. Kasi yung contractor or architecture firm, madaling makasolve for all the direct expenses, yung payroll, yung mga expenses nila directly related to a project. Pero yung tinatanong nga nila, ano ba yung overhead cost mo? Magkano ba yung fixed cost? It's very tricky to solve. With analytics, you can just tag it to a certain admin function, and then at the end of the month, you just divide it by how many projects you have. So ang mga architecture firms, despite kung ano ba yung sabihin ng code, baka magastos ka mag-design, matagal ka mag-design, talo ka pa kahit sinunod mo yung code natin, di ba? So in a very practical way, you would know how much your company is really spending without, having the tedious effort of doing the data. Kasi sino pa naman ang may panahon mag-analyze ng data, di ba? Lahat busy sa projects with construction or especially architects, ganun. So with this, we found a way na hindi lang isang project namin gagawin yung admin. So separate yung Cebu Architecture Firm, Cagayan Architecture Firm, Cebu Construction, Cagayan Construction. So we can parang make nitty-gritty assessments kung sino ba talaga ang mas malaking contribution sa company. So that's just another parang innovation. Then recently, ito yung mga features na based na gusto rin ng mga clients natin. So far, ito yung mga feedback nila na ang dami kong purchases pero yung utang, I'm not sure, do I list it in the expenses na or hindi pa? So for accounts payable, ayan, minsan akala mo, okay, tapos na yung project pero ang laki pa pala ng payable mo sa supplier. So with accounts payable, nalalagay siya sa isang menu lahat. So you would know kung magkano yung remaining mo na parang utang na hindi, let's say you post-dated check or credit ba or credit card ang gamit mo. So you would know na meron ka pang 109,000 for this project remaining. So i-allocate mo siya sa expense. And later on, if you issue a check, ayan, may check ID, you can report it, mawawala na siya. So at least alam mo ano yung paid, ano yung unpaid balances. Kasi nga, minsan tinatanong pa sa secretary or doon sa accountant, pag absent yung accountant, hindi mo alam na ang laki pa pala ng babayaran ko or something like that. So another feature is yung mga architecture firms na ang bilis mag-hire ng mga staff. At more than, I think if you grow kahit mga 3 to 5 people, ang hirap nang i-manage yung mga designers mo. Pero with man-hour distribution, kasi nga, lahat ng data ng hours ng staff mo, whether 2 hours for the rendering of project A, 3 hours for the drawing of plan for project B, nandyan, you can allocate na, okay, let's assess ano ba yung mga projects ginawa natin for the past week or for the past 3 days or for today, ano ba yung output natin. So you can always look back kung saan ka ba efficient or not. So what we do is every week, before the start of the week, we give parang time blocking na, okay, if we have 400 man hours, ano ba yung focus natin ng mga projects this week? 50 hours for this project, 100 hours for the master plan, ganun. So we can allocate them already. Parang forward thinking rather than basta drawing lang kayo ng drawing at the end of the week, laki pala ng expense mo for every project na hindi naman ganun ka good paying yung client. So ayan, too many tasks to handle. Nung gumawa kami nitong quick login feature, I tried to measure kahit ako nakalogin na sa system. So you can reduce your indirect expense or yung mga overhead mo. So lahat, whenever I do something, for example ngayon, analytics, I log into analytics na login na chart. So yung parang sweldo ko, yung expense, nalalagay siya doon sa overhead. So you would know magkano na ba yung parang translation ng sweldo or effort mo doon sa specific project. So even for schooling, I have MBA na parang project. Tapos every time I do our study or something, I log in with that. Alam ko na yung cost aside sa tuition, yung opportunity cost and also yung time ko na nandun nakaspend instead of working and being productive elsewhere, nandun siya sa studies. So you would know exactly how much you're spending. Ayan, ito, no money. Yung available funding, a lot of contractors are guilty with this, di ba? Meron kang project, binibigyan ka ng malaking down payment, 30%, let's just say 3 million. Then afterwards, naubos bigla. Dapat na ba ako mag-bill sa client or hindi? Iko-compute mo na naman yung parang magkano na ba nabayad, magkano na ba accomplishment. But with this, automatic, every time you write the expenses, it would less from the sales that you input into the system. So palaging alam mo na, malaki pa yung available funding ko for this project, hindi pa ako pwedeng mag-bill. Pag kumonti na yung available funding, at least alam ko maybe next week or next month, I can bill the project already. So yun ang mga added features na parang it will help you give decision making sa construction or architecture firm mo. Ayan, I wish I could explain many more features, but for now, I think yun na yung majority ng mga main features. And then these things are merchants, departments, a lot of other innovations that we've parang researched over the years. But I think that's how we can help other architecture firms and other contractors and architects in the industry para they will have a better business decision. And then yun nga, we have created the software so that we will be relieved of the headaches and inconveniences of the traditional system. But later on, we realized that not only did we address the various issues, but we incidentally became more effective in managing our operations. So if some of you might have experienced the concerns we noted, mga problema, we are more than willing to lend a hand as we have assisted our friends and partners to be better at making business decisions, especially in these trying times. So yun ang advocacy namin, not just, kasi just also to add on, yung software like this or parang customized, parang sinasabi na ERP or Enterprise Resource Planning, is available on a very big yung SAP is parang at least 25 million, 30 million. So kahit big architecture firms, they have a hard time affording. Tapos yun na, as I mentioned, di ba majority ng practice natin is small to medium scale. Konti nga lang yung medium scale. So who's gonna help these people na hindi organized, hindi nga maka-afford ng accountant, tapos lalong hindi makaka-afford ng software. So this is where we thought we could give parang a chance na baka pwedeng we can help in this area. As we make better business decisions, as I study parang business administration, parang we're trying to incorporate whatever we learn in that nandun sa software para it would give you somehow an edge. Yung especially those people who haven't done their masters in their business, gano'n. So yun lang po ang namin, advocacy.
Okay, thank you, Architect Zhen, Architect Kristian Zhen Cruz. Okay, guys, if you have any questions for Architect Zhen Cruz, please do drop them in our comment. We'll be flashing them into our screen. So Zen, no, of course, you presented the software or the analytics medium that you are doing in a business manner. My question is that when producing data, how is data coming to you? Is it syempre si Foreman kung si Foreman ba may app sa phone niya, yung mga ganong ba feature ba?
Yes, actually our software is available. Is a web-based software. So it's available in cell phones, tablets, or computers sa desktop or laptop. Mm-hmm. So for attendance, pwedeng meron kang somebody in charge sa site na who will get the attendance para every day alam mo yung attendance and payroll. Because some contractors parang nasa-shock daw sila at the end of Friday na 300,000 pala yung payroll nila or something like that. So, kung meron ka ng either sa cellphone, I'm pretty sure one also, I think ngayon common practice na yung mga foreman or people in charge at site, they give picture updates to their bosses or parang supervisors, di ba? So parang kasama na rin yon. And dahil ang input natin is majority text, although you can input pictures from receipts and something like that, very text lang, it's very minimal ang cost sa yung prepaid na internet. Hindi kailangan na mabilis yung internet, pwede nga mag-load later. So, it's very friendly. At the same time, if you have somebody na pupunta sa site, visit every day, that could be a person na pwedeng mag-input for analytics. So, as of now, yun lang. Manual yung input kasi nga yung OCR technology and all those stuff, parang hindi pa talaga siya parang super na parang na-hone. So, I think it's not gonna hurt na merong manual input once a day. Tapos, ready na yung data forever. Parang andyan na siya palagi.
And how do you warehouse your data? Of course, siguro may server kayo sa
Yes.
I see. And then how do you review your year as compared to another year? How do you face decisions? Okay, how do you face decisions when data is already visualized to you? Paano yung tamang attitude for that, and ano yung, 'di ba? Kasi may medyo iba yung approach ng isang tao or ng isang architect kapag numbers lang as compared sa may graphs and such as like that.
Yeah.
How ano yung attitude mo towards it?
Actually, doon nga balik ulit sa main question. Ang main question is, what decisions do you want to be answered? So, depende siya. Actually, 'di ba, ang one thing we're trying to parang move slowly when we innovate or when we do something is that sometimes you already have a perception nga, okay, we will do year-end planning, we'll do this, we will do that. Pero sa different companies, which I would want to advocate na as many people will be using this, iba-iba yung, for example, ang payroll nila, kami ang payroll namin once every week. Other people parang once every 2 weeks. Other people 15-30, iba-iba. So we're trying to create a system na not only specific to us, but also adaptable to other people. So those people who would think na, okay, once a month lang yung payroll namin, they will use analytics parang on the 29th day or kailan ba, sa 5 ba? Kami weekly, so every Friday gumagawa ng payroll. So isa rin siya parang medyo tricky na flexible yung data. Some people don't, for example, wala akong paki sa monthly na month-end na rating ko because maybe I'm not that particular yet in my practice kasi maliit pa kami or something. So, okay, wag mo tingnan yung data. But whenever you need data, for example, I want a report at the end of meron akong master plan na project, malaki to. I want to look at all the expenses for that project. Okay, we'll give that data to you. Parang i-search mo, January to June, master plan, ito, how much did you spend for that? So, depende siya sa ano yung gusto mong i-answer na question. So, it will just come to you. It depends on the person kasi we cannot enforce na, okay ha, every week, i-check mo dapat lahat ng, katulad kami, we would like to make it efficient. We would like to make sure na every week, all our manpower spent in design is parang put to good use. So, every end of the week, we assess how we did the previous week. Then, we set targets na, okay, sa 400 man-hours natin, next week, eto 50 man-hours, etong master plan 100 man-hours. We set general allocations, parang time blocking. Pero yung other firms na hindi naman ganun ka-particular, then they can skip with that data. Ang isa lang is, as of now, you have all the data you need. Para later on in the future, whenever you need anything, you can easily draw it up. Yun siya so far ang parang direction. Basta nandyan na yung data, kahit later ka na matutong mag-analyze, kahit later ka na tumingin ng week on week, year on year, things like that. Basta andyan na yung mo set up na siya. O kasi we cannot enforce na ito yung magiging system, ha? You check your weekly, you check your monthly, you check your overhead expense. Some people don't care about overhead. Then okay, wag na muna. You'll just have to learn on your own pace. Kasi nga, we're not trying to change yung parang the way you operate your office. Medyo unique yung parang design philosophy ninyo or something. So it also translates to the way you operate.
Yeah. Medyo iba-iba nga tayo ng office culture in each offices. So We have a question here from one of our members, our officer actually, are from Architect Mikey. Okay, direct. What are the packages available? Are tax computations included?
Yes, yes. Yan ang very tricky. We yes, some are very particular with tax lalo na for parang government pickup contractors and things like that. All your expenses can be tagged with parang VAT, non-VAT kasi merong mga receipts that are non-VAT, some receipts are VAT. So you just create a tag for your all your receipts. And then when you want to search, okay, etong project I will show all the receipts that I will declare for VAT. So nandun yun siya, VAT, lahat ng non-VAT. Yes, we have made some improvements based on the comments din on some of our partners na rin na, okay, ito yung mga adjustment, this is where we can improve. So as much as possible, we try to accommodate kung ano man yung kaya namin with the scope and the timeline. So katulad ng VAT, yes, we can search kung ano yung mga expenses na VAT, non-VAT yung pwedeng i-declare and all.
I see. And in terms of course, you have seen your company and other companies, yung mga partner companies nyo, mga business partners nyo, na from the manual, nag-dive into sila to analytics.
Yes, yes.
How was the performance? How was their performance different from before?
Yes. I think makikita mo siya sa tracking with the number of times they log in every day. So
Mm-hmm.
so far, especially we have a client, a contractor na meron siyang more than 100 to maybe 2 to 300
Mm-hmm.
people. Ganon. So it's very hard for him to keep yung attendance every day, ganon. Pero dahil we have analytics, so far when he makes payroll, andyan na yung lahat ng name, less lang niya sino ba yung meron deductions, control P, print agad. So I think it really helped them in a way kasi nga so far yung clients natin that they joined, almost nobody, di ba sabi nga nila with SAS, this is a type of parang software or software as a service is a type of industry in analytics na parang okay, meron kang software, meron kang service na gagawin, para bang Spotify or Netflix, after 6 months or 1 year, meron tinatawag na churning rate. So it's a rate at which people go in and go out of your software. They subscribe and they leave. So far, yung mga majority na nagsasubscribe sa atin because they feel the function at the same time the convenience, halos wala talagang lumalabas sa system. Because when they are comfortable with it, parang okay na ako dito, bakit ipahirapan ko pa yung sarili ko. Kahit ako nga, if I saw a software before we developed this, if I had seen a software that's applicable, that's parang tailored fit to design and construction industry, hindi na kami mag-hassle na gagawin pa yung software. But the sad thing is, we've look at so many softwares, wala talagang parang tailored fit sa design and construction industry. And you know, yung business decisions mo needed, for example, you have a design project, kumita ka ng 100,000, pero yung project mo is 10 million, 100,000 lang kinita mo. So, hindi mo parang in hindsight, in a bigger picture, talo ka pala doon. Pero parang kung titignan mo based lang sa Excel na expenses, okay, hindi ako nalugi. But actually, when all things considered, overhead costs and everything, luging-lugi ka sa project naman yan. Things like that ang gusto naming i-impart sa different architects and contractors na they have to be more intelligent in their business decision. Mahirap naman na ipagpaaralin mo sila ng mga MBA or parang crash course. So this is our contribution to somehow make them better at decision making without having to study or do those things. Parang okay, kami na ang mag-set up ng system para sa inyo. So it's a bit easier for you.
I see. So, with comes with warehousing, of course, natanong ko na sa iyo to off screen. With comes to warehousing, of course, you have your business partners. These are your subscribers of the software that you have. My one of the biggest question, and of course, kasi ang sad thing about Pilipinas, and I don't know, I don't know if it's a sad thing or a good thing. The Philippines, nauna kasi ang privacy law rather than being a data-enabled country. So how do you deal with privacy law na to think na even though that these guys are your business partners, they're also your competitors.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
So one thing is a lot of our clients are parang friends of ours. So
Mhm.
initially, parang because of the convenience that it gives, and also we promise na your data, of course, is not used in any other manner, naka-disclose siya. We don't even divulge it to other users. Pero we keep in mind that our direction is generally towards parang helping others to make better decisions. Pero part of that is really we have parang to sneak peek sa data mo kasi 'di ba how can we help you if we don't know how you're running? Meron talaga 'yon siya ang discrepancy parang it's a fine line that we really have to see a bit of your data. So if some people are not too comfortable with that, parang it's really hard also to grow if you cannot live with other people, parang ganon. But of course, data privacy and parang sharing of information, we are very sensitive and we're very particular with that. And so far, I think ang trust and confidence lang with our subscribers and partners, parang that's why we over parang ano na yan, parang I think it's an issue na hindi na nila tinake up. Parang okay, we understand kasi we trust in you. I think trust in the software is very important as well. And then since they have given that, parang they're not gonna consider that anymore. Parang email, di ba? When you say na nag-login ka sa email or nag-post ka sa Facebook, kahit mga private message pa yan, because it's sent on the internet, somehow it's really in the public domain. So you cannot really say that you want to hide everything, all your data. You just have to make sure that where you put your data is somewhere that you can trust or somewhere that's secure. So I think yun ang ano lang natin parang where we stand on that topic para
I
at
see.
least oh
Okay. Okay.
kasi kahit
Hello?
just to add kahit nga for
Okay.
example you don't do this yung traditional way na meron kang accountant na mag-analyze, you still
Mhm.
divulge your data to another third person na who gets to know your profit and loss ganon. So at least with this data, everyone in your organization gets the right information that's on their level. So for managers, they get manager level information, owners get admin information, and then encoders get the necessary information for them. Can I just add pala, can I just announce para those people who are
Sure.
listening,
Sure,
if
sure,
you can
sure.
if you can like and give our message to our Facebook Zen Analytics. Please give
Mhm.
if you're interested, we will raffle later on one lucky company who will have 2 months, so 2 months free subscription. So if you can just message your name and contact number, you can message us personally sa Zen Analytics na Facebook, and then we will raffle maybe hanggang people who will give until 11 or 12 p.m. until midnight na lang. We will raffle all of their names para we will give free subscription for them. 2 months free subscription. Ayan
O,
lang.
di ba?
At least,
Nagkaroon pa tayo ng sponsor for tonight. Maraming
di ba?
salamat. Okay. Sorry, I'm actually having a technical difficulty right now. Narinig kita pero hindi kita nakikita. So tinitingnan ko na lang over Facebook. Then we have another question, last question I think from architect Mikey as well. Although yeah, guys, if you still have questions, you are free to slide them in. So from architect Mikey, I think mukhang mataturn mo to into a sale tonight. Architect Mikey, pricing. What are the pricing packages according to him?
Yeah. Actually, ang pricing natin would depend on your company, kung architecture firm or construction or both. But just to think about it, when you make a software, usually pala it's like designing a house. Parang meron kang 100,000 or 200,000 upfront cost when you design the software, and then meron din siyang monthly cost because yun nga, meron tayong server, online server, parang yung Google servers, merong Blue Ocean, ganon. And then URL, yung link nyo for the website. We can also give a link towards if you have an architecture or construction website, nakalink din yun. So, meron siyang ano siya, yung parang merong monthly cost at the same time yung upfront cost. It's so similar. It's similar with the design process na merong upfront cost sa architect, tapos merong, let's say, monthly supervision, ganyan. But because, yun nga, our direction is not really on parang making money, ganun. Ang thrust natin is, it's like a research that we do with our company. So whether people are gonna subscribe or not, parang we're gonna do it because we know it's very important in our company and how we want to grow our company. So we did the parang main research already. So yung cost ng upfront cost na 200, 300,000 cost, we don't share it anymore. Parang okay, libre na lang yan. Yung cost na lang ninyo, however, if you join, kasi syempre you will have, let's just say, architecture office A, yung software, yung monthly na URL, storage, yung database, and then meron pa kaming parang online support. We also have that. If you have questions, nandun siya. So that's why merong subscription. At the same time, when we have katulad ng mga quick logins, merong mga additional features, we give it for free na para ma-experience naman ng lahat na, okay, this is better way of doing things. So it's very minimal. Ang rule of thumb ko is parang nagbayad ka lang ng internet mo sa office or utilities, something like that. Pero of course, di ba, the bigger your company, mas mahal din yung binabayaran mo internet. But it's really that cheap ang price compared sa mga hundreds of thousands or millions na SAP.
Yeah, of course, SAP and SAS and what have you. Malalaki talaga yan kasi like multinational companies talaga sila. So, yeah, I guess that's the last question for tonight. I think sayang, marami pa sana tayo pag-uusapan, but I'm having a technical difficulty right now. So Zhen, guys, if you want to know more about Zhen Analytics and analytics per se, you could like their page, of course. Then invite them to like your page.
Yes, please like and follow our page on Zen Analytics on Facebook and also on Instagram. And you can send your name and contact number, please. So we will include you in our draw until midnight. I will post all the names and contact numbers who have given. So we will raffle 2 month subscription of analytics for your company. And really glad to reach out as many design and construction firms as possible. Kasi nga in this pandemic, in this time, na akala mo, okay, next year na lang ako mag-analytics kasi nga wala masyadong project. All the more you should know your data better because
the more that you will see actually the data that you will have starting from the pandemic period until what have you, magkaroon tayo ng next normal or new normal.
Yes.
Anyway, Zen, of course, Zen and I, guys, we would like to invite you. Medyo shameless plugging na. We are trying to also create a community for architects in tech named Architects in Tech. So if you are a fan of anything tech, let us know. We will join. We'll have a
printers din.
Yes. Have a Yes, we will have a community para for better grasp ng technology sa Philippine architecture and construction industry. So, architect Kristian Zhen Cruz, maraming salamat. We will put you on backstage. But I guess okay, you can say goodbye and you can bid your thank yous to our audience.
Yes, thank you so much, Ian, and for everybody and South Triangle Chapter, thank you so much for having me and having Zen Analytics.
Shout out ka muna pala, hindi ko pala sabi. Shout out ka muna sa mga nanonood na friends mo.
Thank
of course,
you.
Hello, Jehan.
Jehan and the rest. Ayan, nag-comment siya. Thank you for your support and for the friends na nanonood. And I think majority of the staff in the office nanonood din sila.
Oo nga, parang ang dami nagla-like na na mga engineer, na bata, na So nagulat na lang din ako. So I guess sabi ko, these guys are from CDON from Cebu. Hello guys from CDON Cebu. So then I think I hope that we can have you again sometime, lalo na magde-develop pa for sure ang iyong software and more applications of the software to other industry, ganyan.
Yes,
So Zen, maraming salamat. Thank you very much.
Ano lang, just to, parang dahil you mentioned parang applications in different industries, it actually, when you check our parang clients, we already have parang in the works yung Caltex and Phoenix. They approach us parang dealers, and then I said that's not architecture and construction anymore, but since we're focused on analytics and gathering data, parang we created, meron na tayong dalawang station for that, and hopefully a third station soon, wherein the owner has direct access kung ano man yung fuel dun sa tank niya, kung ano ba yung mga profit niya, ano yung everything that she needs to know for her business, andun na. Kasi nga, ironically, with big companies, yung mga dealers nila, they don't have access to ano ba yung actual na nandun sa site. Meron pang manual na dipping, things like that. So, yun lang, I just had to add, kasi nga, we're trying also to expand in as many areas as possible, not only to architecture. As I realize, when you grow in other directions, you can parang look back those growth into architecture as well. So we have reinforced our software because we expanded to other areas as well.
Yes. Okay, that's good to know. Anyway, Zen, maraming salamat. I'm so sorry. Talaga kita nakikita on screen. Narinig ko lang ako ng ano. Para akong tool. Okay, thank you so much, Zen.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Hello. Yes. So guys, maraming salamat for joining us tonight. So to know more about Zhen Analytics, you can follow and like their Facebook page, and also from Instagram. And also guys, ayun nga, we are inviting you also, if you are a tech enthusiast, please join our community, founded by me and also Zen Architects in Tech, anything tech, so data science, UI, UX, what have you, whatever you want, hardware, software, yan. That sama kayo para makapag-develop tayo ng more products or more for an efficient use of data in technology and architecture. So see you again next week, and next week we will have our astrology. He will be talking about the use of astrology as in Aries, Taurus, Scorpio, what have you, in architecture practice. So very interesting to, kasi alam naman natin ang feng shui, alam naman natin ang mga vernacular na kasabihan, pero ito astrology yung ginagamit niya. So next week guys, see you again. And also thank you to Boysen, the #1 pain, of course, Crown Pipes, the #1 pipes. Maraming salamat and good night. Thank you.